Hot yoga, standing poses versus floor poses. Obviously, we know the difference, but it's important to understand the significance and the importance of both and how they complete the equation. Now, the standing poses are by far the most popular, at least in my channel. When I feature the standing poses on my YouTube channel, I get a lot more views than when I feature the floor poses. It's more athletic. We're a very performance-oriented society in the West, not just the United States, but outside of India, outside of Asia, we're very performance-oriented. So a lot of times the emphasis on the standing poses, it's actually postures we can sink our teeth into. But if you just came into class, did the standing poses, rolled up your mat and went home, you would not be completing the process. On the flip side of that coin, if you were to come into the yoga class, put down your mat and do a series of floor poses, same thing. You're not completing the process. It's when the two come together, and this is our approach, by the way. This is the hot yoga approach. When I'm talking about hot yoga, I'm talking about Vishnu Ghosh and Bikram and Barkan and variations of this particular style. Our approach is having equal importance to both, what I call Shiva, Shakti. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. Any questions or comments, put them down below. I'm happy to get back to you. Now, Bikram would always tease, or he would say to his brand new students after the standing series was over, he would say, "That's the warm-up. Now my class starts."
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Some of the new people may say, "Oh my God, this is already too hard. There's more to come. That's even more difficult, more challenging." What Bikram was saying, he really wasn't kidding. He was saying that now that we've opened up our bodies in the standing sequence, now we are properly prepared to get into the floor poses where the real work happens. Let me explain to you that process. Now, this style of yoga that I was just referring to, Vishnu Ghosh, Bikram, Barkan, is a particular style of hatha yoga, a very misinterpreted word in the yoga world. I recently did a video on what's the true meaning of hatha yoga. Check it out after you watch this one. But a lot of people in the West, when you take a hatha yoga class, many times on the schedule, that class is a gentle, relaxed class. And in actuality, it's the exact opposite of what it means. The word hatha means forceful. We forcefully awaken the energy inside the body. That doesn't mean we forcefully move within the class so that it's damaging to the body. It means we forcefully manipulate the energy. Doesn't mean sun and moon, even though it's symbolized by the sun and moon. The right side, the ha, would be the sun. The left side, the ta, would be the moon, and the balance of the two. That's really the symbolic meaning of hatha yoga. But the true meaning is to forcefully awaken the energy, and this is how we do it in our particular style of yoga. We create a warm-up in the standing poses. This is where the standing poses come in and why they're so important. We warm up the body slowly. One of my favorite sayings on the Barkan Method channel, you might have heard me say it before, less in the beginning, more at the end. We slowly build the intensity. You want to go full out in the first pose or the beginning of the class until you're warmed up. We want to ease our way into that intense moment. We do it toward the end of each pose, and as the class continues to progress, we do it toward the middle and the end of the class. So when we do the standing poses, we're creating an opening of the body, and not just the physical body, the ethereal body. And this is another very, very important concept in yoga. Let me have a drum roll, Rochelle. The nadis. The nadis are physical, ethereal conduits or channels that are working around us and through us, something we don't really talk about that much. You may not hear it in your yoga class because a lot of teachers either they don't know about it or they just don't want to mention it. Some yoga philosophies say there's 72,000 channels. Some even say 350,000, whatever number it is. I mean, it's just sort of an intangible number, but it's a lot, whatever it is. So it's the physical and ethereal channels that are opening around us and through us, that are flowing around us and through us. And these nadis, for the average person, get stuck. The energy gets stuck because the nadis are blocked. So the concept of hatha yoga and the way we practice it, the way we practice the asana, is to forcefully awaken the energy through these channels to get rid of the blockages, to allow the energy to continue to flow. Because once again, if the nadis are blocked, the energy gets stuck. So we open up the blockages by shifting the energy through the body, and we do it starting with the standing poses. And this is another great concept when we practice our yogic postures, our yogic asana, and we use the asana as an exercise modality. When we're doing a posture like half moon, we go to the right, we go to the left, we go backwards, and then we counteract it with a combination pose called hands to feet. Now we come forward, so we're opening up the body right, left, back, front. Sun salutation is what we do in the Barkan method to warm up the class. We open up our bodies through lunges. In the second set, we add a lunge twist. We're moving and stretching the body, especially the side bodies. Like when we do this, take a look at this picture in the side twist, we're stretching the body from the side. The hard to get to places where a lot of blockages happen, and we begin to manipulate not just the physical, not just the blood and oxygen, but the subtle energies, the prana, the Shakti, through the body, through those conduits, through those nadis, getting rid of the blockages to allow the energy to flow. So now in our style of yoga, Hatha Yoga, Bikram, Barkan, Vishnu Ghosh, the standing poses I consider to be the Shiva energy or the Shaivite energy. The floor poses I consider to be the Shakti energy. So we warm up the body in the standing poses. And now when we get to what I consider to be the second most important moment of the class, and I say it almost every day, the first Shavasana. After the standing poses are over, we're laying in Shavasana. We're allowing now the blood, the oxygen, the prana, the Shakti to flow through these channels, to flow through these wide open spaces, now newly open from the last 45 minutes of the class. And by the way, all the classes that you've ever done have culminated to this moment. And now Shiva and Shakti reconcile, they come together. That's why it's such an important moment. Then people say, well, that's the second most important. What's the most important moment of the class is the last Shavasana, when we lay still. So when we're in our Shavasana time, it's not just recovery, it's also understanding the concept of the manipulation of energy and how now, once again, the process completes. The Shiva, Shakti, reconcile, come together. And it's the most nourishing thing the body, not just the physical, but the ethereal body can sustain. Okay, now we started on the floor poses. And by the way, in the Barkan method, I found that in the 26 and 2 in the Bikram flow, hip openers were definitely missing. And I got those hip openers when I was doing Bikram's 91 Posture Advanced class. So I included in the Barkan method hot yoga class daily hip openers that we do to once again get into the hard to get to places, especially in the West. Our hips are not as flexible, just generally speaking. Our physical makeup is different. We're bigger bones, we're taller people. In Asia, they have wide open hips. When I went to India, I saw men on the street, 70, 80, 90-year-old men just squatting down into the position, and their hips are just wide open. They can just sit in the squatted position with their back straight. It was really an extraordinary thing to see. They just have a genetic opening of the hips. So that's why I believed that in the Barkan method, that's why I included daily hip openers like reclining floor pose or Supta Bhadrasana. It's an opening of the hips. We also do a very, very important pose that I call foot to knee pose. We'll replace the foot on top of the thigh. We pull our knee into the chest. It opens up the glute and underneath the piriformis. Again, a very hard to get to place. So we get to those hard to get to places, especially in the hips. We open up the blockages to allow the energy to continue to flow, to forcefully awaken that energy into the body. Floor poses allows us to get to those hard to get to places. And after the standing poses, we're now warmed up, we can penetrate into a much deeper place. That's why the floor poses are so significant and important in our approach to Hatha Yoga. So why am I making this video? You can come into the class every day. The phenomenon is going to happen to your body automatically. However, and this is why I made the video, when you're conscious of this phenomenon, you know exactly what's happening. As we open up the body, open up the nadis, first in the standing poses, reconcile in Shavasana, we get to the floor poses. It all comes together, this awakening of the energy, opening up the blockages to allow the energy to flow through the nadis. When we have this awareness, we actually accelerate the phenomenon. It's referred to as Raja Yoga, the mental aspect. When we bring Raja Yoga and incorporate that into the physical practice of Hatha Yoga, now once again, even more so, the equation completes. The phenomenon exaggerates. And it's the most nourishing thing, not just the physical, but the ethereal body can sustain. I said it many times before, it's not just balancing the body, it's not just quieting the mind, but it's nourishing the soul. And as we open up these blockages, hard to get to places, we start to make an investment into your future. Yeah, many people live a long life, but what's the quality of life you're gonna live? The yogic asana is an investment to a much higher quality of life if we continue the practice. The Shiva Shakti coming together and understanding the importance of both. I have a workshop coming up next week in Evansville, Indiana from March 13th to the 15th. It's a 3-day workshop, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'd love to have you join us. There's still time to sign up for the Barkan Method Level 1 Teacher Training Program in March and April at OBX, the Outer Banks of North Carolina. I put links in the description below. And in April, I'll be in Tallahassee for a 3-day workshop. And in May, we have our 26th annual Costa Rica, not just level 2 and 3 teach train program, but a yoga retreat. You can come and just do yoga, sit in the hot tub, lay in the hammock the whole time, do 2 classes of yoga a day if you want. You don't have to, but if you're in the training, you'll have to. I put links in the description below. So that's our episode for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. Any questions or comments, put them down below. I'm happy to get back to you, and I'll see you the next video. Bye, everyone.